Many people think orchids are too exotic to grow, but let me tell you, they are easy. My wife's the orchid grower in our family, but I help occasionally. And one of the things that you have to do from time to time is repot. And Jennifer Pelham, our extension residential horticulturist, is here to tell us about doing this. Come on in and just take a look. Now, this is a Phalaenopsis.
So Phalaenopsis is from my yard. It lives under my oak tree, and hasn't been the best care, but it's been out there for a number of years. You can see.
Horticulturists have a hard time giving their plants the care because we're working all the time.
Right, that's how it is.
That's part of the problem there. So what tells you that the orchid needs repotting?
Oh, the roots are spilling out the top of this pot and wrapping around the sides, and it just ran out of room, and it needs to have
kind of like the orchid
space.
Right down in front of us here.
Yeah, that's another one. It's a collection of orchids that I've collected that all ended up in that basket, and it just has overgrown.
You have epidendrons and Phalaenopsis and others in there. And you know, this is okay for a while.
It is okay for a while, but it's beyond a while now.
You just cut it apart, tear it apart.
Yeah.
Orchids are not tender. I mean, you can go through and just take them apart. Don't feel afraid to grow an orchid.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to hand this to you. What do we do first?
So the first thing you want to do is you want to release some of the roots that have attached themselves to the pot.
And you may need a knife to do that.
You may need a knife to do that. And if you can see here, the roots are just encompassing the entire pot. And what we really want to do is get out all this old material under here.
Yeah.
So let's make a mess.
And one of the problems we have with orchids and containers while you're doing that there is that the media does break down.
Right.
And so you want to get some nice new bark and things like that in there. And that's what we're going to be doing here.
So yeah, get out
all the old stuff. Look how peaty some of that is, when it comes out like that.
And the roots are actually in circles in the shape of that pot. This has been in way too long.
Yeah. Now, do you worry about breaking roots or cutting roots or anything like that?
You want to be a little gentle, but if you break a few here and there,
I just rip them and tear them.
They'll recover. I mean, these grow naturally in the jungle, so they'll be okay,
I have to tell you, I took an Orchid Care course one time, and the gentleman really cut a lot of the roots away.
And it was okay?
It was okay, yeah. Worked out fine.
So there we got all that old material out, and so we want to put some fresh orchid mix.
Okay,
together.
and orchid mix is what?
Orchid mix is mostly bark. The Phalaenopsis really like bark, so this is this is some bark. It's nice and light and airy, which the roots of the orchids like.
These are healthy roots, I will tell you that. Now, the media we're going to put it in is not soil, is barks and
it's not soil. It's not soil. It's bark, maybe a little bit of peat in there, but mostly large materials.
Okay, go for it.
So we're gonna put it into this basket here.
Okay. And this is just a wood basket, and you could use a clay pot. You have an orchid pot down there. Yeah, this is an orchid
pot. It has the holes in it for extra air movement through the roots.
Okay, I'm going to give you that.
Let's see if it's going to fit in here.
Okay, and it's okay if some of the roots go over the side. That's fine.
Yeah, because orchids growing in the wild don't have pots that they grow in.
Pots or clips or anything like that to hold them in.
You want to try to just work some of the material around the side. I put some of the bark in the bottom, and then just work it around the side to get it in there.
Jennifer, is there a time of the year when we do this, or you just do it when it's needed?
Well, the best time is when they're not flowering. So this one happens to be flowering. We broke rule 1, but it's okay. They only need repotted. The Phalaenopsis only need repotted maybe every 3-4 years, whenever they seem to be outgrowing their container. It's not something you have to do every single year.
This is a tough, durable orchid, I'll tell you. The Phalaenopsis is really a good one.
It's one of the best and easiest to grow. It's very, very rugged.
Now, this one fits in this container real well. I mean, it's really sitting in there. If you had a pot, you may use something like this, right, to hold it in?
Yeah, these are little clips. So sometimes when you repot the orchid, they're kind of unstable. And so this clip can go on your pot, and it can actually hold in the roots.
You have to push down hard. They're tough to
they're hard to get on there.
Yeah.
So.
Now, I know many of you have an orchid that you got for a gift or something like that, maybe Easter, Mother's Day, where it might be. What do you do with that orchid?
Well, orchids don't like direct sunlight, so they like kind of a part shade area. So you want to keep it in a shady area, like under the oak tree or on a patio, and then just keep it watered, but not too wet. I think a lot of orchids, especially the Phalaenopsis, are maybe watered a little too much and rot from too much water. So you want to just keep it moist.
How about feeding?
You can use
What should you do?
You can lightly fertilize the orchids. They don't need much fertilizer, but there's some orchid fertilizers out there that you can use a couple times a year.
Yeah, just follow the instructions.
Follow the instructions.
And what else they're doing these days, they're using slow release fertilizers for them too.
That's what I like, because I'm the lazy gardener and I forget
too.
to forget to do a lot of the fertilization. So those slow release ones work well for me too.
Jennifer, thanks a lot. You're gonna be able to put this out hanging underneath the tree?
Yes, I'm going to put it right back out under the tree.
Well, we appreciate all these tips here. So if you have orchids at home, they're not exotic. They just look exotic. You can give them good care. When they fill the pot with roots or the media breaks down, you can go ahead and repot them just like we showed you here. And most of all, just water, fertilize them, and enjoy them. That's important too.